Miss Aishwarya. She is basically an alumnus of our college. Okay. She's now presently working as a project engineer in space geotech. She basically deals with projects that is relevant to GIS. And also glad to tell you that her final year project, which she had carried out at Wipro GE Private Limited, was presented at IIT Guwahati and is also being published as a book chapter at Springer. Okay. With this brief introduction to Aishwarya, I would request Aishwarya to take over. Okay, Aishwarya, you may share your screen.
Yes, sir. Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you see me, sir? Can you see me?
Oh, your webcam is disabled. Your webcam is disabled.
No, sir. No, sir, it's on, but then it's not showing.
Okay, no problem. You can see
Okay.
present now, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so let's just click on present now and share your screen. Once your PPT appears, I'll confirm that.
Okay, sir.
Let me know if your PPT is on your screen now. Have you started sharing?
Yes, sir. Can you see?
I cannot see that. Prasanna ma'am, can you see?
No, Aishwarya. Next to the last dots on the screen at the bottom, there is one present now, right?
Yes, ma'am. I've clicked on that.
No, your PPT should be open. Your PPT should be open first.
It is open.
Then go to present now and go to that window. Present a window.
That's what I've done.
So click that.
Which reroutes certain times when you go through a densely forested area. So why does this happen? So basically this software uses GPS, which is known as the Global Positioning System. Initially it was called the Navstar GPS. Now this is a constellation of 24 satellites, and you require minimum 4 satellites to be in your line of sight, or the LOS, to be unobstructed to your device in order for it to gain your spatial data, that is your XYZ coordinates and time. So it will give you the latitude, the longitude, and the elevation at a particular point. So basically this is used in global navigation satellite systems, not just your Google Maps. And it uses radio navigation. It was first, or it still is controlled by the US government. Initially, it was only used for military purposes, but now it's open to public. Some applications involve navigation or even cartography. So you use you can make maps. It's used in disaster relief. Like for flood mapping and all, you use coordinates, and even automated vehicles like Tesla and all. So without driver, the vehicle drives on itself based on this GPS tracking. Even geotagging, which is available in DSLRs, this uses this feature to get the location of the photo. Geofencing is another feature which is used when it's used on either vehicles or people or pets. This feature provides us notifications if the particular person, vehicle, or pet leaves a designated area. Also, emergency calling or safety apps also send SOS messages using this feature. Next slide. So GPS gives us the data, the spatial data, which is the raw data, which is used in GIS. Now, GIS is expanded as Geographic Information Systems. This is basically a mapping tool. So based on the information, latitude, longitude, and elevation that you get from GPS data, it is imported into GIS, and then it is helped, it is used to map. This Google Earth data that you can see is the same plot which uses GPS coordinates in order to locate it on the Earth. And then you can convert this into a 2D surface, which is seen on the right side. And then above it is the 3D elevation. So if I just tell you that a particular point in this plot is 862 meters, you will not be able to visualize it. But the 3D elevation right here can show you the difference in elevation across this entire plot. And also it'll give you the lowest lying areas. So this can be used, the lowest lying areas can be points where the water is used to be collected. So potentially the lowest lying areas are used for rainwater harvesting. Also, in terms of flood mapping, the higher elevation areas will not be easily flooded. So moving over to the next slide. There are basically two GIS softwares. One is QGIS and another one is ArcGIS. QGIS is an open source software. That means it can be used by anyone and it's free. Whereas ArcGIS is a licensed software, whereby it has to be paid for to obtain a license and to use it. In our company, we use ArcGIS. But then both of them are pretty much similar. Each of it has their own advantages and disadvantages, but they're more or less the same. They give almost the same kind of outputs. Moving over to the next slide. Some major applications of GIS with respect to safeguarding the environment is one majorly used or widely used application is flood mapping. So from the digital elevation model, which is actually downloadable, it's a TIFF image. So once you download it, you can actually find which areas of a particular region is more prone to flood and which one will be less prone to flood. For example, in this particular map, the purplish or the whiter shade areas are less prone when compared to the browner shade in this map. Also, it can estimate the damage which can be caused by any particular disaster, whether it's a cyclone, a tsunami, or flood alert. So you can also mitigate by moving away the people like beforehand in time. So it definitely helps in protecting human life also. Next. Also, it can be used to map the air quality index. For example, in this particular image, you can see that across many cities in Italy, NO2 is used as the parameter, and across various dates in from 2019 to 2020, the variation in NO2 has been mapped. So basically they use air quality index sensors, and it's placed all across the particular region, whether it's a city, a state, or a country. And as the days pass by, the sensors keep sending in data, and this data is accumulated, and then it can actually form mapping of which areas can be higher prone to particulate matter, like air quality is dangerous for patients who have asthma or any other breathing ailments. Moving over to the next slide. Forest fire risk mapping is also very important because based on the vegetation that is available in or which exists within the forest area, and also the fuel which is available, as in the soil which contains the kind of minerals it contains, and also the slope of that area, and also the amount of heat the region gets, it is like possible to map forest fires which can happen. So yeah, next. These are images of Google Earth and OLI. OLI is basically a satellite operational land imager. It's at a distance of 30 meters approximately from the Earth. Now, if you can see, it's of the same area, you can see the lakes, which I've highlighted in yellow arrows on the operational land imager picture. So it's blue in color, while there are other lakes which are black in color. So this blue color like symbolizes that the lake or the water body is polluted. So the more blue or greenish images that it reflects, it indicates that the water quality is bad. So it can help in resource management. It can give us an idea of which water bodies we need to uh, replenish, and which other bodies we need to protect in its current form, so that it doesn't get any further polluted. Next. So land use and land cover, this is basically the land use and land cover of Bangalore. If you can see, this red signifies that it's completely built up and barely there is any water bodies. The blue color is the water bodies, and there's no plantation. You can see is barely, green color that you can see one or two patches. So yeah, the land use of the garden city has basically changed over time, and this is a very recent image. You can so yeah, this can actually help in town planning of newer cities. You can actually use it effectively, such that you track natural resources and you accordingly plan the city to around the natural resources. Next. So soil maps, basically this is mostly used in farming. So mostly farmers, for example, this is the soil map of Maharashtra. So yeah, all the farmers online portals are there for farmers to access soil maps. They can cultivate based on the soil, so it's definitely beneficial. Next. So yeah, this is not exactly environment, but still COVID-19 mapping. All your Arogya Setu app and many other apps, similar apps, basically use GPS, and they give you positions of the home quarantine patients, and also otherwise also you can see the number, like the circles, the red circles marked are the densely affected areas with respect to coronavirus. So this is another application. It has a wide range of applications.
Aishwarya, there is something wrong with the audio.
Hello? Hello?
Aishwarya?
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me? Hello?
Aishwarya, there is something wrong with the audio.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
Yes, Aishwarya, continue. Aishwarya, continue.
The red circles. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Aishwarya, you can start. Aishwarya, yeah.
Hello?
You can start.
Can you hear me, ma'am?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So these red circles indicate areas that are infected people live in these areas. So yeah, there are many other applications of GIS, and certain ones are still yet to be explored. So yeah, next slide. That actually ends my presentation. Thank you.
Aishwarya, that's it. I think if students are having questions, let me see whether they've posted anything in the chat box. Nothing is there. So anybody who has a question for Aishwarya, please ask now.
If you have any questions, kindly ask Aishwarya. Please understand that GIS is all about representing the information. So if you have any doubts, you may kindly ask her now. Anybody has any queries? I don't believe anyone has any queries, ma'am. So, Prasanna ma'am?
Tell. I can hear you.
On behalf of the department, I would request you to, thank Aishwarya for this presentation.
Yeah, okay. So, Aishwarya, we are very happy that you could come and talk to our students. And this will also be a good initiative that an alumni is able to give at least information about the field in which they are working. And probably students who are actually interested in working in the field will also get motivated from what you have spoken right now about the various aspects of GIS and into which areas you people are working. So from the department side, from the faculty and the students of Department of Civil Engineering, we thank you. Thanks once again.
Thank you, Aishwarya. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. So for the students, in 2 minutes, I will be forwarding the feedback form.